Well, greetings, Boise State fans. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome on in. Bronco Nation News Live here at Bronco Nation News social media channels. Also on the KTIK 95.3 The Ticket social media channels today, because we got our Thursdays with Mike Prater segment. You see him right there. You know him. You love him. You're happy he's on video now. Mike Prater joins us for your weekly Thursday segment, man. How's it going, sir?
I'm doing well, BJ. Nobody's ever said that about me and looking good on video. So you're the first. I appreciate that. And that's a lie first thing in the morning. But good to be with you, BJ.
Well, appreciate it. And looking forward to it. You're coming from the RowPaint.com studios there, downtown Boise. I am here in my luxurious home office. We appreciate RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. Power in people, pride in painting. They are the official, as I said, paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. And I know they've had some work done at my place. I believe you're a place, Prater, but if not, they will soon. And they do a great job. My garage, my patio, love Andy Rowe and the folks there. So thank you to RowPaint.com, big supporters at Boise State Athletics, as well as KTIK and Bronco Nation News. Mike, I heard you guys listen to pretty much the whole show yesterday with you and Johnny, and Bob was on there for his segment. Obviously, it's I know basketball doesn't move the needle maybe as much as football does in this town, but when this team is winning and doing what they're doing, it's fun. And that was another exciting down-to-the-wire game against San Diego State, and you just keep checking the game off the schedule, and we just keep getting one day closer to this team looking like they're going to get back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2015.
We all love a big story. That's the business that we're in. We love these big stories, and you can feel it. If you've been in this business for any kind of time at all, you can feel a big story brewing, and you can kind of feel it over the last couple of weeks, maybe since they got out of that road trip rut and they were playing some home games, playing some Saturday games, and getting some big crowds. You can literally feel it in this town. You can feel people talking about it on social media, the water coolers here on our shows, your shows. The buzz is building. I think it's a slow buzz, and I think people are hesitantly getting on board, but they are getting on board because Leon Rice and his crew are doing nice things. We said yesterday on the show, if you were listening, we declared Boise State in the NCAA tournament. I know you have as well. We're not making any kind of magic here.
I want to talk to you about that. Actually, we'll get to that.
Let's dive in and make.
I'm not quite there yet. I don't know if if they I just picture the scenario right now. If they lose the final 3 games and they lose in the quarterfinals of the Mountain West tournament to like the 8 or 9 seed, and we're sitting there on Selection Sunday, and they've lost 4 games in a row, including a early exit again in the conference tournament. Yeah. I'm not sure Leon Rice is sitting there with his feet propped up thinking he's still for sure in the tournament. I don't know. And if that's the case, if there is some uneasiness and if there is question, I can't call him a lock. I think they need one more win.
I'm going to give him the win. I'm going to give him the lock. And yeah, we could sit here and debate whether they're going to go on a 4-game losing streak. And I know you don't believe that, but that's a scenario that we have to talk about. I think even under that scenario, BJ, Boise State is in. They've done enough body of work. They would absolutely have to sweat out Selection Sunday. They would be sweating it out and wondering what line they're going to be on. And at this point, they're just trying to pretty up that resume so they can get as high of a line as they possibly can. But I'm going to go out on a limb. I think even with 4 consecutive losses, Boise State basketball is in the NCAA tournament. BJ, it's a lock. Book your ticket and go. At this point, we just have to know where they're going. Oregon, San Diego, somewhere far, far away. I think Boise State's going to the NCAA tournament. That's the big story around here, BJ.
The graphic says Mike Prater. It looks like Mike Prater, but it doesn't sound like Mike Prater right there. We'll have to see. I don't think they're going to go 0-4. So I guess from that standpoint, we can call them a lock. I mean, I think they at least get the Nevada game at home, maybe. I mean, even though Nevada's playing better, I think they actually have a weird feeling they go in at UNLV on Saturday. I'd like to see one more before I feel a little more confident. If you can go 1-2 in these last 3 games, you're sitting pretty, but you don't want to end the regular season on a 3-game losing streak. No. I don't think anyone's predicting that's going to happen. I mean, you have to go to CSU. You saw what that atmosphere was like. And, here's the scenario now, Mike. If Boise State can win Saturday at UNLV, which, is certainly doable. And then if Monday night you have San Diego State go to Laramie and beat Wyoming, you could cut down the nets on senior night Tuesday if you win. I mean, that's all that's all that has to happen. If you can beat UNLV, because now you had Wyoming lose yesterday, so they fall a game behind. You beat UNLV Saturday, and I guess I'll go ahead and put the standings up here now. I've got them locked and loaded here. This was after the Colorado State Wyoming game last night, so that's why they're the 2 teams that are highlighted. I took this from the CBS Sports graphic on TV, so thanks to them. But if Wyoming loses Monday and falls to 4 losses at, San Diego State has to come to Laramie, which won't be an easy task, but it's certainly possible for San Diego State to beat Wyoming. It's not like we're asking Wyoming to lose to Air Force or somebody. And if that happens, then the next night, Tuesday night, a win against Nevada on senior night would clinch the outright Mountain West title for Boise State. So if that happens Monday, Mike, you could see a scenario where there's a late push for tickets and a chance to. I remember that 2015 game when they clinched against Fresno State. It was a sold-out crowd, and Leon Rice was handed the trophy, and the confetti fell, and they cut down the nets at Extra Mile Arena. I think there'll be a lot of people rooting for San Diego State Monday. You could have some fun at Extra Mile Arena next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's a good scenario, and let's keep repeating that to make sure people understand that and know that, moving forward, because that is important. And I would love to see that scene recreated on a Tuesday night. It's too bad that a lot of Boise State games have been played on a Tuesday night, but hey, that's the schedule. Let's talk about the Mountain West and their TV schedule sometime next year. But let's get through this offseason or this regular season first. That would be fun. That would be a pretty cool deal to send these guys out like that. This is a roster, as you know, in flux. We don't know if there's going to be 1 senior or 5 seniors. We'll figure all those details out. But if that scenario could happen, BJ, that'd be a lot of fun.
And here's what's left for the 4 teams competing for the title. This was also on the graphic that I stole from CBS Sports last night. You see Boise State's at UNLV Saturday, then Nevada, Colorado State next week. Colorado State on Saturday goes to Utah State, which could be a tricky game there. And then they have a whole week off before they host Boise State in the final game. And then the road's a little bit tougher for Wyoming and San Diego State. And, Wyoming has Nevada at home, and then San Diego State at home. Still has to go to UNLV, and then they have the extra game at Fresno. So the road's not easy, and I mean, are we still thinking all 4 of these teams find a way to get in, Mike? Or, I mean, I saw some speculation yesterday that, all of a sudden Wyoming could be the team that's the most in trouble because their net ranking is not very good. Their computer rankings are not great on KenPom. The last time I looked, they weren't great. I mean, for as great of a season as Wyoming has had, they're now 51 at KenPom. And if we update the net standings, I think they're somewhere in the 40s as well. And so I just, you hope the league can still get 4 in, but I don't know if it's for sure going to happen. And it's getting down to the nitty gritty here. Wyoming 39th in the net. So they're still okay there, but I don't think you're feeling super confident right now that all 4 of these teams can get in, can you?
No, I don't. And I think that is the bigger storyline. Boise State fans are going to be focused on Boise State, and they're going to try to get Boise State. They want Boise State to win every single game. They want every single opponent to lose every single game. And Boise State fans want to see domination from this team in the Mountain West standings. But I do believe that, let me say a more widespread thinking fan would want to see the Mountain West do very, very well. I would rather see the Mountain West get 4 teams into the NCAA tournament than maybe Boise State trying to improve from a 7 seed to a 6 seed or an 8 seed to a 7 seed. I'm willing to take that sacrifice. One, it talks about cash. We're talking about cash. And if the Mountain West can get 4 teams in there, that's more cash for everybody in the conference. It's more credibility for this conference. I think the record for this conference is 5 a few years ago, but it's usually a 1 or a 2 bid league team or conference. And if Boise State or the Mountain West can get 4 teams in, to me, that would be the priority. I would sacrifice the seed line to make sure that 4th team gets in, BJ.
Boise State, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, I believe has never been a single-digit seed. I think actually 11 seeds the highest maybe. Yes. So if they could get to a 10 seed, which almost looks like a foregone conclusion here, that they would be the highest seed in program history. And I know you had said something with Johnny yesterday on Prater in the Ball Game, 3 to 6 weekdays, 95.3 FM, the KTIK.com, the KTIK app, about let's just get them in the tournament. We'll take that as a success, and then we'll worry about trying to win the first game. They haven't been in since 2015. They've only been in twice in Leon Rice's 11 years. This is year 12, right?
Yep.
And I guess 11 in the Mountain West, 12 overall.
Yep.
Obviously haven't been out of the first 4. The first 4 game, you can debate whether that counts or not. With the up and down of the last 5-6 years of this program, I mean, is I don't want to say is the season a success right now, but if is this, do they have to win a game in the tournament for this season to be a success, or is winning the regular season title, getting to the tournament and having a single digit seed, being in position, is that enough, you think, for this year? If I guess you buy into the fact that this is maybe the first of this program taking off here moving forward.
BG, I have a reputation on Idaho Sports Talk for being a soccer player. I mean, a flip-flopper. And I flip-flop a lot on Idaho Sports Talk. And I've been beaten up for 20 years on Idaho Sports Talk because I do flip-flop my stances. I said at the beginning of this season that the only goal I personally had for this team was to get to the NCAA tournament. And that's happened now. I truly believe they're going to the NCAA tournament and nothing is going to get in the way. Yesterday, I started to hedge a little bit and started getting beat up a little bit. Okay, now that they're there, we want them to win a game. Oh, of course, we want them to win a game. They've never won a game. They're 0-7 in the history of the NCAA tournament, dating back to the UNLV game in 1974, I believe. 0-7. 1 point loss to Dayton in that first 4 game, 15, and the last time that they were in 15. I really think if they could go off, I mean, of course, I'm stating the obvious here. If they can win a game in the tournament, that's a monster build for this program, and Leon Rice has to keep taking these steps. I'm not going to go off and change my goal. Boise State has made it to the NCAA tournament. If they can win a game, great. It's like gravy on my mashed potatoes. If they don't, I still think this is a pretty good season. To get into the tournament, to get into the main draw, Leon Rice has accomplished something that he's never accomplished, and there's growth there. I beat him up a lot for slow growth, but you know what? As long as there's growth, I guess I'm okay with a little bit of that.
Again, I can't believe is this John Mallory? Is this Mike Prater? Who's here today?
I know, but you kind of got to react to the news. And as negative as I want to be about this program and as skeptical as I am about this program sometimes, they're doing great things, and you have to recognize that, and I certainly do. So I'm not going to sit here and say I think the NCAA tournament would come down to literally an X's and O's matchup between 3 players on each side. That's literally what it's going to come down to me. Yeah. So if they get that great matchup, then let's root for the victory. If they get a matchup that doesn't make a lot of sense, let's just celebrate the journey. Celebrate the journey, BJ.
I would agree with you on that at this point. I mean, but I will say, you want to go ahead. Yes, it's been a good season. You want to first win the Mountain West. If you get the regular season title, hopefully do something in Vegas, at least get to the semifinals or finals. But yes, I think this season will be seen as a success. You're making the tournament. You're a single-digit seed. You might even be wearing white uniforms in the first game, as the higher rated seed. And so no matter what happens, yes, I agree with you, Mike, that I think based on the last 6 years of, not being able to write Boise State on a bracket on the NCAA tournament, yes, you take, and there were people last year after the finish saying, hey, the next year's a big year for Leon Rice. Like, hey, they started 13-1 last year or something, and then faded down the stretch. And I think there were a lot of his detractors were out in full force at the end of the season saying, he's going into next year, maybe on the hot seat or okay, Jeremiah Dickey's going to take a hard look at this program next year, and see what to do. And I think Leon Rice gets a contract extension after the season. I think he gets money put into this program for more charter flights, for more. I think at this point, he's got a lot of leverage. It wouldn't shock me at all, Mike, to hear his name floated around for other jobs, maybe even for the sole reason that he wants to, continue to see some things happen and if you're Jeremiah Dickey, this is when you go back to the donors. This is when you do this kind of stuff right now where you say, hey, now's the time to, invest another $100,000 in this basketball program and see what happens. So I suspect that this is going to pay off in a financial way for Leon Rice, his assistant coaches, maybe increase the pool there. They added a position, adding Lexus Williams to the staff before this season. They're already trying to increase things. And so I think, it's been a success. But I'll say this team's good enough to win a game, Mike. And this is one of the better teams, maybe is going to be, historically the best team they've ever had. Just get over the hump, get the win, get the game. I mean, it'll be a success either way, but you're this close. You got the 20 in blackjack. You don't want the 21. I mean, you want the win. Like, I mean, you got the 10. You're going to double down. You want that ace. You want that 10. Like, take advantage of what you got here. Take advantage of this. And that's probably a bad analogy, but I mean, this team is so close to making history and getting that first win. If not this year, when? I mean, so I'm not going to. You're right. I'm not going to say that this season would be a failure if they lose in the first round of the tournament. But you're 0-7, like you said. This is the time to go ahead and make it happen. So I think that this is as good a chance as they've had in a while, and especially if they're going to theoretically be the better team in the first game. I won't call it a choke job. Some others will, whatever. If they lose the game, that's fine. But man, I think this team has, when you can defend and rebound, you got a chance in any game you play. And so I'm not going to say they have a chance against Gonzaga or somebody in the second round, but if they get to the sixth seed and beat an 11, and all of a sudden the crazier things have happened. What if the 14 seed upsets the 3, and all of a sudden Boise State's, playing the 14 seed to have a chance to go to the Sweet 16? I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about, but I think this team's good enough, and I think this is the year you'd really like to see them just get over that hump and get that first win.
All right, BJ, I'll put my Mike Prater hat back on. One Sweet 16 talk is ridiculous. I know you're just painting a scenario. If it happens, I'd be shocked. And let me go back to Leon Rice's contract. I'd be thoroughly opposed to giving him an extension on
I knew you I knew you would be.
Well, he's already got that built in, so I think he's got 4 years for the rest of his life.
Well, I still think he's like the 4th or 5th highest paid Mountain West coach. I mean, you got Steve Alford making like double what he makes.
I know, and I'm not opposed to money. I'm not opposed to resources. As a matter of fact, beef up everything possible about this program except giving Leon Rice an extension, because I don't think that that's needed. I would rather the focus be on maybe an extension for his pay, or maybe an extension for his salary, for his assistant salary pool, or resources for more charters, or however you want to do it. Get the program more resources. I don't need to see Leon have a 5th year when.
Well, no, I guess I just mean a raise. Maybe not a new. Maybe with a new contract, I just mean a raise. I mean, he's already got 4 years, so all they'd be doing is adding 1 year anyway. It's not like they're going to give him 5 extra years. I guess my thing is I suspect they increase his base pay a little bit.
I'd rather give it to Andy Avalos, but that's a whole nother argument. We had a football conversation yesterday.
There you go.
Andy Avalos' contract is on my mind as well. But yeah, this program deserves everything it gets in the offseason if they complete the program, if they complete the deal. At least 4 more wins, maybe 5. I mean, is Boise State on the flip side 5 wins away from losing Leon Rice? I mean, who would have thought of that scenario?
His name, I guarantee you, Mike, his name will come up for some jobs. It has in recent years, and all of a sudden with what they're doing, I think his name comes up. But I think he's at the point now where I think Jeremiah Dickey has a chance to and I know some people would be fine if he left. He's going to always have those detractors and whatever. And maybe that changes if they do make some run in the tournament and win a game and hang with Gonzaga in the first half or something. I mean, who knows? But I think that I would be surprised at least if some job, there's going to be 2 or 3 Pac-12 openings. We're talking about Jeff Linder probably going somewhere. I think you'll hear Leon's name come up, and he might even interview. And I think it probably ends up being just to help get a little more out of Jeremiah Dickey for this program. And so, yeah, whether it's charter flights, whether it's another support staff member, whether it's a full-time video coordinator, which they still don't have, we've talked about this for years.
Sure.
There's still 3 or 4 in the bottom of the budget. And so you just think about, okay, you know what? They did increase the charter flights this year. They had 3 or 4 more extra charter flights than they've ever had. And is that the reason they're doing this? Not by itself, but I mean, it all adds up together. And so I just think that you will see an investment made in basketball a little more after the season, because I think that this was a swing season. This was a season where I think Jeremiah Dickey was like, okay, I'm hearing from a lot of boosters that they've been struggling as Leon Rice, and private. He's not going to say this publicly, but privately, I'm sure he was taking a hard look at the program this year, and for them to go 22-6, have a chance here to win an outright Mountain West title. I think there's, they're not going to. I think they go the other way and just, fully back Leon Rice and say he's our guy moving forward, and we'll see. You mentioned Andy Avalos, though. I was disappointed to hear this yesterday. I know you were giving Johnny crap. He was, making a huge deal of Andy Avalos making this lap at halftime around the court, and how much it meant to the the atmosphere of the arena. Well, he failed to mention that Andy Avalos actually personally gave John Mallory a cookie.
Oh, come on, Mallory. Are you serious?
I took a picture of it and tweeted it. I guess that somebody had handed him a prepackaged cookie or something, and he was looking for the right person to give it to. And John Mallory was that person. So John Mallory sat there at the beginning of the second half eating a chocolate chunk cookie from Andy Avalos that he was personally given to.
So all game can be bought for a cookie. That sounds like something I would have done.
Well, it was a pretty large cookie. It was a pretty good sized cookie. I will say that. It was a nice one of those kind of oversized cookies. But and he said 2 or 3 times how good of a cookie it was and how much he appreciated it. So the next time that Johnny says something favorable about Andy Avalos, just say, ask him about the chocolate chip cookie that he had.
BJ, you and I need to talk more on a daily basis. That's the kind of nugget of information I need every single day before I go on with Ball Game on Idaho Sports Talk.
What's there's 3 games left in the regular season, and I guess you're saying 0-3 still gets it done, but what are you projecting? I would say, 1-2 obviously probably gets it done. I'm trying to find the picture here real quick. Oh, here it is. I'll see if this is going to be horrible, whatever, but I'll put it up to the screen here. Here's John Mallory with the cookie in his hand.
Wow. That's great evidence. Keep a hold of that. Don't ever delete that photo. As for Boise State's schedule, BJ, the only real swing game here is UNLV on Saturday.
I will say this, by the way, you were saying that, and none of these are big games, or what do they accomplish, I guess, when you guys were talking about it yesterday. Don't forget about that Mountain West title. They're 1 game up, and I know the tournament, and these aren't huge games in terms of that, and yes, it helps your seed, but this team has never won an outright title. In 2015, they had to share in the Mountain West. They had to share the title in 2015 with San Diego State, even though they actually beat San Diego State both times. They were co-champions because they finished with the same record. So
yeah.
I think that's a big deal. I mean, you're now one game up with 3 to play. I guess 1.5 because, but in the loss column, it's one game. And I think that's a huge deal for this program to win the outright title. And that's kind of the focus at this point.
I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. I think they can take care of business against UNLV. I know for a fact, well, I don't know for a fact, I'd be shocked if they couldn't take care of business at home against Nevada, which I know is playing a little bit better, but at home, shouldn't be any problem. I think Colorado State's a bad matchup. That's a bad matchup, and I don't want to see Colorado State in the Mountain West tournament. For some reason, Colorado State scares me. They're not the best team in this league. They certainly have a lot of issues, and they're maybe not the team that they want to be, but that matchup scares me to death. Maybe it's Roddy. I don't know, but I don't ever want to see Colorado State on a postseason line against Boise State. To me, that would be one big scary hurdle for this basketball team to overcome. But yeah, I mean, if they can get that number one line in the Mountain West tournament, that's a big, big deal. And just setting yourself up for good matchups. It depends on where Colorado State falls, but if Boise State can get into that Final Four, into those semifinals, and complete the deal, at least 2-1 in the regular season, at that point, we're really, really fine tuning and nitpicking seeds in the NCAA tournament.
Well, Mike, if you get tired of Johnny and JP and need a new career change here at this point in your life, Transportation Compliance Service can get it done for you. 1,000 people a day are deciding to become truck drivers, get into the trucking industry. TCS taking care of many of them. It's a national company, but it's based right here in Meridian. Big BSU supporters are behind it. They're signing up 50 to 70 new accounts a day from folks all over the country. They help you with your LLC, your tax ID number, your DOT number, your overweight permits. You name it, they can do it. By working with TCS, you can get better insurance rates and have a better chance at passing safety audits. Transportation Compliance Service can help navigate potential pitfalls, keep you out on the road. Their offices are right there by Meridian Speedway. I went out and saw it and had a great time there, so we appreciate their support of the show and hope that you will continue consider them the next time you are looking for a career change. And quickly also, those are my kids there on the screen. Look how happy they are, Mike. Going to the dentist isn't always a great thing, but Chris Meinert and his staff do a great job. Dr. Chris Meinert, Boise Dentistry Co. We made the switch as a family, and I paid him off, but he found no cavities one way or the other. So
Nice.
Appreciate it. But right there on the screen, 906-1255 is the number. You can get more information, BoiseDentistryCo.com. So if you're looking for a new dentist, and again, another big, huge BSU fan, so you can sit there and talk sports while you're getting your teeth looked at. And hopefully you will consider and thank our sponsors that help us here at Bronco Nation News by making the switch to Dr. Chris Meinert and Boise Dentistry Co. I got a thing for you, Mike, I wanted to bring up here in the last couple of minutes. Extra Mile Arena. I'm curious your thoughts. I didn't ask you this ahead of time, so I kind of putting you on the spot here, but the arena's too big. We all know that. I mean, it's perfect for concerts and things like that, and they're kind of in a dilemma because if you ever did want to, if somebody donated $50 million or whatever to build a new arena, a smaller arena, which, we're just thinking in pipe dreams here, but I don't think the university wants to get rid of the chance at the NCAA tournament or the chance at 14,000 for a Luke Bryan concert or something. So what the problem, you're seeing Baylor and Texas are two prime examples. Baylor just won the national championship. They're building a new arena that's 8,000 seats. Texas, the Irwin Center right now is like 15,000 seats. They're going to open a brand new arena at Texas next year, 10,000 seats. Wow. These schools are downsizing arenas, increasing the demand, probably can sell the tickets for more. They're adding the suites and the more premium seating, which help make up the difference in the cost. I mean, last night or the other night, you had, I think they announced it at 9,200, which, by the way, was 1,000 less than they got for the San Jose State game. But I don't know if they can just curtain off that top level or do something, but it just, when that third level is almost empty, it just doesn't give you the feel as it does of a packed arena, even though there's still maybe more fans there than, Colorado State last night was rocking, but they've only got 8,500 fans that fit in Colorado State's arena. So long-term, I guess, and short-term, Jeremiah Dickey, this athletic department, what do you see with Extra Mile Arena in terms of, can they do renovations? Can they just curtain off the top level? Can they try to do something to eventually get to filling it with 12,000 people? Or do they need to start some sort of drive to potentially help with the where they try to consider maybe some sort of, pipe dream of a brand new facility? What are your thoughts on Extra Mile Arena?
Oh, man, I don't know if I've ever really said it this way, but listening to you talk and just kind of going back, I love Extra Mile Arena. I love the pavilion. I remember the first time I walked into that thing 30 years ago and went, whoa, this is Boise, Idaho? Are you kidding me? I think it's a beautiful crown jewel of this city. It's much better facility to me than Albertson Stadium, which I've always just kind of complained it's just a big giant piece of concrete. On game days when you put people in there, it's a beautiful thing, but let's call it what it is. It's not a beautiful stadium. Extra Mile Arena, I love Extra Mile Arena. To me, the best compromise, and we're talking a couple $1 million here at least. I would love to see them get rid of some seats that might put the NCAA tournament in jeopardy. We're not quite sure how steady that's going to be coming to Boise anyway in the future. But give me some VIPs, some suite boxes, some loge boxes. Get in there and demolish 20,000 or 2,000 seats and find a way to put in some kind of a premium type seating. That's what I want to see Jeremiah Dickey do. But that's going to be so expensive, BJ.
It's an interesting arena because it's got the 3 decks and it has that big time feel and it gets loud in there. But it just, they've tried with some of the facelifts with the new video board and some of the ribbon boards. And I don't know. It's just weird because when it's full and rocking, it gets really, really loud. But and I know I like, I can be critical of the fans, but I was sitting there during that game thinking about it like, this is still more fans at this game than they'll have at Colorado State for the Wyoming game. And they'll still have that. And so I think the whole sellout and filling the 3rd deck is maybe too much, is overblown. I still, frankly think in a town of this size, you should be able to get 12,000 on a regular basis for a basketball game. But that's a different story. And so if they're not going to get it, I just wonder if they have to look at, do they curtain off the top level, or as you're saying, maybe you take out all the seats behind one of the baskets, maybe take out the entire area behind the basket and make that kind of a area with high top tables where you just stand around and have a beer and watch it from a different angle. And then all those people that usually sit there trickle up and you end up filling the 3rd deck because you're, have less seats. I don't know how you do it, but I know there was a study that Don Day said that the university was looking into it. That apparently caught the athletic department by the surprise. That was something that the university did on their own, because don't forget the university owns Extra Mile Arena and Boise State Athletics pays a fee to rent it, which is one of the more unique agreements in the country from what I'm told. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I mean, especially if this team can continue winning, you'd like to see the crowd increase, and in particular the students. They got to figure out a way, I think, to get more students in there.
Seems like the last couple games the students have responded, but I know Boise's doing everything it can to push prizes, push this, push that. It seems like it's worked, but it's just a couple of games. That needs to be steady. That needs to be consistent. And you could say that about the fan base, period, in terms of, 3,000 people showing up in November, 4,000 in December, 5,000 in January. We can see the kind of slow build that this season has had in terms of attendance. You can see it. So, and we're going to see the end of that on Tuesday against Nevada. But yeah, I like Extra Mile Arena. It needs a lot of help, but I don't want it to go away. And you're right. The trend for smaller arenas is a beautiful thing around this country. I like that idea. I just don't like the idea of Boise State getting rid of Extra Mile Arena. It's a beautiful place to go watch basketball. I know you're always pushing it, but I think it's still pretty good. Boise State's still 4 or 5 in the Mountain West. And when it comes to attendance, there's not very many teams, college basketball teams in the West, averaging 5,000 plus fans. So that's a pretty good list to be on. And I don't think there's any reason to panic, but this is a great time. As you've pointed out, that's kind of the theme of this show. Now is the time to capitalize on these resources. Off the field, off the court, off season, in season, whatever it takes, build the momentum on what you have, get out into the fan base, and try to capture some of that buzz.
Well, a lot of comments coming in. We're about out of time here, Mike, but box seats, center court, balcony, 12,000 isn't too big. It's just built weird in 3 levels. Jordan's saying, what about playing some of the smaller games at CenturyLink Arena? Maybe a game or 2 a year, I guess I could see. Conference standing championship, Nevada, San Diego State, Wyoming. They're saying Bronco Nation, we are the boosters. I know you love this. More resources for Leon. Recruiting budget's half of San Diego State's. All kinds of comments. But Mike, appreciate – sorry, folks, if we couldn't get your comment on the screen today. We just had a lot coming in, too many of them. He says, why did ACOG get pulled off the floor? I will say quickly, because he just was struggling. Leon wanted him to clear his head for a minute, he said, and because he had seen him miss a shot badly and just wanted him to take a quick breather. I think he had 4 fouls also, so he didn't want him to foul out. So he took him out on defense, put him back in, and that worked. And they want the confetti Tuesday, Mike. They want the confetti. They want to cut down the nets. Let's make that happen if we can. UNLV has to, Boise State has to beat UNLV on Saturday, and then Monday night, San Diego State beat Wyoming. 2 games, 2 things happen, and all of a sudden we got a chance at a party on Tuesday. Appreciate it, Mike. What do we got on Idaho Sports Talk today?
We're working on a couple of different things. JP's working on, that new Lakers series that's coming to HBO. We're working on the author of the book behind that, Jeff Pearlman, the great author, Jeff Pearlman. We're going to dive a lot into Boise State basketball. I know we're meeting with Leon Rice here in a couple of hours. We'll see you down there. And I know you're on Idaho Sports Talk all day tomorrow, filling in for me, BJ. Do me a favor. Don't screw it up, my friend.
big shoes to fill tomorrow as I fill in for Mike Prater at 3 o'clock. I'm looking forward to that, me and Johnny tomorrow. So have a good show today, Mike. Appreciate it. Folks can listen KTIK.com, the KTIK app, and 95.3 FM, 1350 AM as well. So appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you down there. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.